Good evening. I'm Earl Rydell, your director for District 4, and I'm thankful for serving for your director for the last 15 years. It has gone by awful fast. It's kind of amazing, but it's amazing, and I appreciate the opportunity that you, the members, have granted me in serving you for these 15 years. It's been a ride, but there's a whole lot more coming, and your board is going to have to be in high gear pretty quick. As many of you are aware, I'm unable to run for the director position again, although I don't think I would anyway. I'm getting up there in age, and besides that, I've got a little bit of a breathing problem nowadays. But there was never a day that I took the responsibility of representing this district lightly. And I listened to any and all of you anytime you want to bring anything up. It is my sincere hope that you all feel your voices have been heard and that your board has made decisions that have advanced the objectives of the cooperative in the direction you wanted it to go. I will miss being your director, and I will miss the monthly meetings and the discussions that we have in the boardroom. And it's very refreshing to hear different points of view come up in the boardroom. We come out of the boardroom as one voice, but don't think it's always quiet in there. It gets a little noisy time to time because we don't agree on a lot of stuff when we first get started. The constant learning that has been that I've been subjected to during this time is sort of a mixed blessing. I always wanted to get into the power industry. Ever since I graduated from NDSU as an engineer, I originally applied for a job as with the state. I would have been setting lines where the transmission lines would go throughout the state of North Dakota at the time. But of course, once you get to work for DOD, because I was in the military, they offer you so much money you can't turn it down. It's kind of hard, to explain to the wife that I had to turn down a house payment a month just to get this job. No, that wasn't going to fly. Anyway, I'm thankful for the support that you've provided to me throughout the years, and we all hope that the next director in District 4 will cherish the reward and the rewarding experiences of being the director of this great co-op. I would like to welcome those of you who are here in person and those of you who join us virtually. Because of COVID, the last in-person District 4 meeting took place 6 years ago in 2018. It means a lot to me as a director to be with you in person again. And gatherings like this drive home the point that Lake Region is different from other utilities. We are owned and controlled by you, the members. If you don't like the way the board of directors is operating, you fire us. It's easy. We put our members at the center of everything, and the foundation of our co-op lies in the heart of these local meetings. We continue to enter exciting times, and your directors continue to work hard to make sure that your cooperative continues to serve you in the manner you deserve. We've had rate stability for several years, and that's a lot of the hard work driving that is Tim and his management team and all the people at LREC. They've done a great job. Seeing only 2 general service rates changes that we've had over the past 12 years, one of which took place last year. These changes were necessary to maintain the financial strength of your cooperative. Our cooperative, just like families and friends and neighbors, has been dealing with inflation over the past couple of years in ways we haven't seen for some time. And we've seen material costs double in the past couple of years. I know it drives the engineer Al crazy when he has to buy stuff. Unfortunately, this can impact our members in ways none of us want to see, but your directors and the Lake Region teams continue to push forward with purpose to serve you in the best manner we can. Lake Region wouldn't be in the business if not for all of you. You are the owners. You are the reason for our existence, and you share in our success. We've made it a priority to continue to look for ways to transform your member experience with Lake Region. I'd like to thank all of you members, fellow directors, and employees for staying engaged and working together to continue to move forward with a great cooperative started by so many hardworking people in 1937. I'm excited to announce that we are once again holding three-person annual meeting locations this year, one in Life Church, one in Frazee Event Center, and one at the Parker Prairie Event Center. The annual meeting will take place on April 18th at 6:30 p.m. You will also be able to participate live stream, and you can enter questions on the chat line. If you're joining us virtually, please use that chat line at any time during this meeting if you have any questions. We will be responding to all the questions that you bring here in person or you bring online in the chat. And if we do not get to your answer during the meeting, Tim and his crew will respond to it. We need a meeting chair for the director meeting to preside. Wait a minute, I might have skipped a page, people. Hang with me. Nope, I didn't. Sorry, I don't want to repeat either. We need a meeting chair for this district meeting to preside over the nomination process. I propose our attorney, Chad Vestal, will be that meeting chair for this district meeting. Does anyone have any other nominees they would like to put forward as acting chair for the meeting? This is only for the acting chair. If not, thank you. The chairman for the meeting is Chad Vestal, and your vote is needed for the candidates on this board of directors. Voting will occur by person and paper ballot. This voting process will probably be necessary tonight because I believe we have 4 candidates for the position. There will be a few, which is great. I'm glad to see so many people willing to share their time and their efforts to continue working with you, the members, to make this a great co-op. I'm glad you could join us to learn more about Lake Region Electric Cooperative and participate in the local democracy by participating in this nomination process. Before we begin the nomination process, I want to introduce the rest of the board of directors. Their picture and the district are listed on the screen. Kurt Kruger from the Rothsay area in District 1. Cecil Bud Hensel from the Frazee area, District 2. He's way in the back. He's hiding. Mike Brazel from Perham area in District 3. Then me. Patrick Myers from the Cormorant area in District 5. Charlie Blix from Pelican Rapids in District 6. Not here. Tom Jenin from Fergus Falls. He's also our chair. And I didn't mention it, but Mike Brazel is also our representative to the GRE board. Jim Gronbeck from the Battle Lake area in District 8. And Gary Olson from Parker's Prairie in District 9. The meeting continues now with nominations. Our meeting chair will guide us through the process. Chad, will you please come forward?
Good evening. Thank you, Earl. There are 2 ways that an individual can be nominated to be a candidate for the director at the annual meeting this April. The first is why you're all here tonight, and that is through the director nomination process where you will nominate directors to be placed on the ballot for the annual meeting. The second way is through a petition process. An individual has 30 days after the district meeting tonight to gather 50 signatures from the district to be placed on the ballot. And there are other procedures that need to be followed, and those can be found in our bylaws in Article 4, Section 4.4B. If anyone has any questions about that, please find me after the meeting. As chair of this meeting, I have appointed Greg Larson to serve as our recording secretary. I have also appointed, and they have graciously accepted, Tom Trosvik and Dennis Madsen to act as tellers in the event that there are more than 2 candidates nominated and a vote is needed. The tellers will physically count the ballots that are cast of you that are here in person, and they will certify to the members of this district the results of the election. There are more than 10 members present here at this district meeting, and so I declare that we have a quorum. When making a nomination for an individual to be a candidate for the board of directors, I would ask that you state and spell your name, and also state and spell the name of the individual that you are nominating for the director position. Are there any questions about the director qualifications or the nomination process? Any questions on either of those? Hearing none, I now declare the nomination process to be open. Again, when you make a nomination, please state and spell your name for the record. According to our bylaws, the nomination process has to be open for 2 minutes, which doesn't seem very long, but it is an eternity, trust me. A time clock on the screen will count down from 2 minutes. And so now that we have started, there we go. Are there any nominations? Yes, sir, in the front.
My name is Stuart Peterson. You want me to spell it?
Last name.
Peterson, P-E-T-E-R-S-O-N.
Perfect, thank you.
First name Stu. I would like to place the name of Lee Mindeman as candidate for District 4 representative. L-E-E-M-I-N-D-A-M. Come on, Lee, how do you spell your name? M-I-N-D-E-M-A-N-N. 2 N's.
Perfect. Thank you, Stu. Yes, sir.
My name is Myron Carlson, M-Y-R-O-N-C-A-R-L-S-O-N. I'd like to nominate Ken Hendricks, H-E-N-D-R-I-C-K-X.
Thank you, Myron. Yes, sir.
I'm Larry Mullins, M-O-L-L-I-N-S. I'd like to nominate David Pawlowski, P-A-W-L-O-W-S-K-I.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Are there any other nominations? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Mary Stowe, S-T-O-E-N, and I'd like to nominate Ken Ziegler, Z-I-G-L-E-R.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? If there are no other nominations, is there a motion that nominations for director be closed? Is someone willing to make that motion? All right, thank you, Stu. Is there a second? Thank you, sir. It's been moved and seconded that the nominations for director be closed. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Would the 4 nominees please stand if you are here? All right. To the best of your knowledge, do you meet the qualifications for director? If so, answer yes. All right, perfect. Well, I will give each of you the opportunity to speak, and I'm going to go in order of who is nominated. Lee, would you like to speak first? Yes, you can come up here, please.
Less than a half hour.
They know me well. Hi, I'm Lee Mindeman, as you've already heard.
glad to be here tonight, and I recognize a lot of the folks in the room tonight, and many I do not. My wife and I, Becky, you got to stand up. Yeah, yeah. I'll pay for this. Yeah. We moved to Star Lake in 2009, built a retirement home on 380th Street, just down from Camp Joy. My parents, back in the 50s, built on the same road on the other side of Camp Joy, so I felt I had to continue on that tradition. So, I'm a retired guy. I grew up in Kindred, North Dakota, which I'd point out is the original headquarters of Cass County Electric. And I grew up across the street from their headquarters, and know a lot of people that worked there. A lot of my friends in school depended on their folks having good employment, and they were good corporate citizens. I remember that. Some of their employees taught Sunday school and were involved in sports as well. So a good example, and I feel the same way from what I hear about Lake Region. Background. So I grew up in Kindred, graduated 1967, went on to Morehead State College, and I majored in mass communications from 1967 to 71. Earned a degree, bachelor's degree in mass communications, and at the same time I was doing that, I was also taking courses over at NDSU in their ROTC program. So the day I got my diploma from Morehead State, I got in the car, drove across the river, and I got commissioned as an officer in the United States Army. And 2 months after that, my wife and I, we headed out to Fort Knox, Kentucky, and I'm not going to give you every step along the way, but just to let you know that we've been a lot of places, and we work for a lot of people. I think I worked in 16 different states. I think we had 7 houses. I know I've been a member of 7 different Lutheran congregations. I think I counted up, I've got 18 total years of property chairmanship, and we don't want that to leave this room, okay? Currently a member of Calvary Lutheran Church in Perham. Served on the Star Lake Township Board for 3 terms, and also involved in the Star Lake Property Owners Association, as well as the Star Lake Concerned Citizens Group. And I know there's at least one person in here that recognizes what that is. But that was the organization that kind of led the fight for on the casino issue. Am I close on time? Getting there. Good in there. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. So I'm delighted to be here. I'm proud to be here, to be nominated. I think my many years of management experience, both with in the Army and with Procter & Gamble. I cannot tell you how many people I trained. I was a major trainer. But at 30 years with Procter, a lot of experience there that I think I could bring to bear at Lake Region. And I'm proud of Lake Region. I think they're a well-run organization. And I'll wrap this up simply by saying I believe in climate change. I believe there's going to be some challenges for our society and how we adapt to that. And Lake Region and suppliers like Lake Region are going to play a major role in that. And I'd like to be able to represent this group and try to help that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mindeman. Mr. Hendricks, you're next.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Ken Hendricks, and my wife Josie and I recently moved here from the Butler area, which is just north of New York Mills, and I grew up in that small community and dairy farmed for the first part of my life with my family, and farmed till about the early 2000s, at which time we opened our first Subway franchise in New York Mills. We expanded then to Monaga, and more recently we acquired the Perm Subway location. All this time I was in the Subway world. It was also very active in the communities and the events, and also at that time I was on the Lake Region Board representing that district over there. That was a board that this board I certainly was very interesting, thorough, exciting, and my experience with it was very challenging at times. When I first got on the board, the Lake Region was at 29%, and through Tim's leadership and such, when I left the board, we were at 43%. So something very proud of, and so with that, I believe I am armed with the experience and knowledge to serve this district, and certainly would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks. Mr. Pawlowski.
Good evening, everyone. My leadership philosophy is built on collaboration, transparency, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. I believe in cultivating an environment where diverse perspectives are valued and respected. Throughout my career, I have successfully led teams through complex projects, ensuring that decisions met business objectives while being both fiscally responsible and sustainable over the long term. As District 4 Director, I am committed to listening to your concerns and incorporating your feedback into the strategic vision of our co-op. I envision a future where LREC continues to stand at the forefront of innovation, safely providing reliable, affordable, and environmentally responsible energy solutions. Going forward, LREC will face many difficult decisions as the march toward renewable energy marches forward. Experience and lessons learned throughout my professional career in the technical trades, engineering, and business operations have prepared me to meet these challenges head-on. A little bit about myself. I, of course, am a native of Perm, and my wife and I moved back here in '97. I literally began my career on the end of a shovel. I learned the business from the bottom up. I worked primarily for phone companies and eventually went to an engineering firm providing professional services, where I earned a spot on the board, became an owner, and then finished my career at a cooperative telephone company out of Underwood as business operations manager. That pool of knowledge, much of which included professional services to utilities, I think really prepares me well for this position. I understand the technology behind the business of power generation and transport, as well as operations. I want to thank you for considering my candidacy, and I look forward to the opportunity to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pawlowski. Ms. Ziegler, I do not believe is here. Is that right? Okay. All right. Thank you. So we have 4 candidates, which means that you get to vote. The bylaws state that only 2 candidates from this district meeting can be placed on the ballot at the April meeting for your representative from this district. The purpose of the vote is to reduce the 4 candidates down to 2. The 2 candidates receiving the highest total number of votes shall be declared the official candidates for the district election. Each member may vote for 1 candidate. If you have a joint membership, only one of you can vote, not both of you. On the election ballot in April, the candidate receiving the highest number of votes tonight will be on the ballot first, and then whoever got the second or was the second candidate will be placed second, and if there are any petition candidates, they will be third and fourth on the ballot. You all got ballots when you came in tonight, And so now I would ask that you cast your votes. Yep. Can you put it up there? So let me spell them for you. So Lee Mindeman, Mindemann, Mindemann. Ken Hendricks, Hendricks, Hendricks. David Pawlowski, Pawlowski. And Tammy Ziegler, Tammy with a Y or an I? Y. Tammy, Ziegler, Ziegler. Ziegler. No, if you miss a letter, that's fine. Everyone's got different first names, so we'll be able to figure it out when the tellers are counting the ballots. This is not a spelling test. So remember, 1 vote per member. And so if you're done, if you want to hold up your ballots, we'll come around and grab them from you. And tellers, if you want to meet me, I think we're going to count in the kitchen. Yep. Anyone else have any other ballots? If anyone's still writing, raise your hand if you can do 2 things at once. Any other ballots? Hearing none, now I would turn the meeting over to our CEO, Tim Thompson, to give his presentation. Tim?
Am I on? All right, wonderful. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here this evening to participate in your district meeting. These district meetings are such a special part of our electric cooperative. It's a great opportunity for members to come together at the local grassroots level to nominate members for the board of directors. It's also a great opportunity for members to visit with your board of directors and the Lake Region employees who are here tonight. Having a room full of members, board members, and employees is another great example of member engagement at Lake Region Electric Cooperative. At Lake Region, we want to have a high level of member engagement because we believe member engagement really creates a stronger cooperative force as we build for the future. And that's why we continue to create new ways to increase our member engagement. In the center of this screen, for example, all those colorful dots, though each one of those represents a location across our service territory where we have had some form of member engagement over the last couple of years, whether that be in person, like tonight's meeting, or virtually. Our in-person meetings include our Coffee with the Co-op program, where we'll invite members in to a local cafe, provide a cup of coffee and a donut, and just talk about Lake Region and things going on in our industry. Very similar to our Apps and Chats program, where we'll invite members into a restaurant and have appetizers, and again, just visit about things that are important to our members. The virtual opportunities include our Virtual Member Advisory Committee, or VMAC as we call it, and that's where we can communicate with the committee virtually through Facebook. We can give them questions and topics and get feedback from them. That's very valuable to us at the co-op. And also our Energy Corner, where we can use Facebook to just provide good information on a variety of energy issues and topics for our members. We want to be your local trusted provider of information in the electric utility industry. Perhaps our best example of member engagement is our new annual meeting format. We now have 3 locations where members can in person, attend the annual meeting. The primary location is Fergus Falls at Life Church. We can also live stream the event into the Frazee Event Center and the Parkers Prairie Center as well. We're trying to bring the annual meeting as close to our members as we can and increasing our attendance. With these 3 locations, 98% of our members live within 25 miles of one of these 3 locations. We also offer a virtual option. And with this new model, the last couple of years, 1,200 people have attended our annual meetings, doubling previous attendance. Another new opportunity is our Energy Forum. And this is really designed for members who want to take a deeper dive on energy issues. We're going to bring in another round of industry experts, and they'll make presentations on a variety of energy issues for members. Members can engage with them, ask questions. Following those general sessions, we're going to have some breakout sessions on topics that we think are interesting to our members, including everything from electric vehicles, residential battery storage, standby generators, as well as our solar program, our Go West solar program. We're planning that for May 30th at Thumper Pond Resort, again this year. If you're interested, we'd love to see you there. And this summer, we are going to have another Member Appreciation Day. I'd like to invite everybody to that. It's going to be at beautiful Maplewood State Park on August 8th. We'll have free food. There'll be no cost for Lake Region members that day to get into the park. Just going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have our linemen there. They're going to be doing our electrical safety demonstration. Would encourage you to bring your kids, your grandkids, your family. It's so important that we educate our youth on electricity and how to stay safe around electricity. We're going to have electric bikes there people can ride, as well as our 2 electric vehicles, the Ford Lightning, the pickup, and the Mach-E, the Mustang there. Lake Region, your cooperative continues to grow. We now serve 29,780 consumers. This past year, we built 362 new electric services for members. A lot of that growth is around the over 1,000 lakes in our very large service territory, which encompasses 3,200 square miles. We have 5,865 miles of power line. We also are growing with our new natural gas company. We are now bringing natural gas distribution service to 4 small towns, one including Dent. This building is heated with natural gas provided from our subsidiary, Lake Region Energy Services. We now serve 1,196 gas consumers. We built 42 new gas services this past year. And we do all this with 67 wonderful, dedicated employees. And I'm proud to say tonight, in the last 8 days, we've had 7 of our employees, our linemen in North Dakota, helping a co-op there restore power after that brutal ice storm they just experienced. Our linemen just got home this afternoon. We had a chance to visit with them before we came over here today. Really proud of their efforts. Co-ops help co-ops. We were running the pictures of their experience as you came in, those pictures of that ice. That was just in the last week at Dakota Valley Electric, just to our west. Well, I'm really pleased to report that this last year, when we did our annual member satisfaction survey, we had 2,797 members participate in that survey. That's way more than we've ever had participate. That feels super good. And I'm pleased to report that when we asked the members that question, overall, how satisfied are you with Lake Region Electric Cooperative? We scored a 9 out of 10. You can see the positive green line trend there. Our overall satisfaction has been on a positive trend in recent years. The best part of that survey result is the feedback, the comments that you give us. They're very meaningful to us. They're very motivating to us. We are here to serve you. A lot of those comments have to do with our reliability and our rates, and I want to talk about those 2 main things this evening. Let me start with reliability. Transmission level reliability. The transmission system is those larger poles and structures that bring the electricity down to the local level, to the Lake Region substation. We own the subs and deliver the power to your home, business, or your farm. Well, back in 2008, we were not satisfied with the level of transmission service we were receiving. We don't own the transmission service, so we sat down with our transmission services providers, and we put a plan together to improve the reliability of the transmission system. Because if there's an issue on the transmission system, it trickles down to us at our level and causes outages for you. So we sat down, put together a plan. Since then, $22 million have been invested in the transmission service in our area. The 5 of the biggest projects of that plan are these red dots on the map here. The top one up here at the very top there, the Lake Eunice substation. Great River Energy built a brand new transmission line in from the north to serve our Lake Eunice substation. We built a new Lake Eunice substation, really solidifying the reliability of the grid in that area. The GRE Frazee transmission substation, that's a very large Great River Energy transmission substation. They rebuilt that. They spent $10 million on that project alone, really solidifying that area in the northern part. The GRE Schuster Lake transmission substation, that is an additional brand new substation that was built, again, really solidifying and strengthening the grid in that area. GRE also upgraded their Henning substation, which serves multiple Lake region subs, and then we've done some work at the 10 Mile Lake substation as well. So these green areas on the map are now experiencing better reliability just from the improvements made at the transmission level. You can see it's such a big part of our territory. Over 21,000 consumers now are experiencing better reliability because of these projects. And now that we've been doing these projects and got them complete, we can take a look at the before and after effect. So since 2008, transmission outages across these green areas have been reduced from an average of 64 transmission-related outages per year down to 24, 63% reduction in transmission outages. We also continue to invest in our local grid. This chart shows the nice downward trend of outage times for members since 2004. Back in 2004, on average, each year, Lake Region members were out of power 4.4 hours. That's come down nicely, finished up this 2023 at 1.6 hours. That's a 64% decrease over that period of time. A lot of good reasons for that decrease. We continue to invest back in our grid with grid improvements. We're doing a lot of tree clearing, and we continue to be innovative, invest in new technology to better serve you. One of the new programs is our DGIP program, Distribution Grid Improvement Program, as we call it. This is a program that's above and beyond our normal work plan and maintenance programs. With all the data we have now, and we know where our worst performing circuits are based on outage history. So we started there. We said, let's identify the worst 10 on our project. These green circled areas are those worst 10 where the outages were the most frequent. So we give that information to our linemen, ask them to go out to each one of these areas, look at them, put their eyes on it, use their knowledge, skill, and ability to come up with ways to better serve those 10 areas. They did a great job. We've now worked 9 of those 10. The green ones are completed. The top one up there that's kind of the pinkish isn't quite complete yet. But when these are completed, 3,921 members will have improved reliability. And now that they've got this program working in our organization, we're continuing to identify additional areas to improve your reliability. Just want to highlight one project real close to where we're at tonight here in your district, District 4. Of course, here's Dent. There's our Dent substation, if you know what that is. This is a project we're going to do this year. It's going to replace 10,600 feet of overhead line. This red line, we got poles in water, we got poles out in sloughs, old overhead line. That's coming out, and we'll be putting the underground in there to replace that. Really excited to get this project done. If there's ever issues out in those sloughs and things, it's very hard to deal with. So a nice improvement in this immediate area. That's about a $251,000 project and should improve reliability to a little over 1,700 Lake Region members. Really excited about this new technology. And I just want to say, so thankful to work for a board of directors who is willing to invest in new technology so we can better serve our membership. The Exactor technology is all about being very proactive to prevent power outages. The whole goal of this is to find a piece of material or equipment on our system that's got a small problem before it becomes a big problem and causes an outage for you. How the Exactor technology works over on the left-hand side of the screen there, that little box sitting on the hood of that truck is part of the Exactor technology. And that truck going down the road parallel to the power line is sensing that power line and collecting data. You make a couple passes, and when you're done, that box will give us information that says go to a certain location and do further investigation to see if there's a problem there. So, for example, it takes us to that pole that's kind of behind the truck. The lineman there with that device scans that with that handheld device he has, and if it makes a certain noise, we know we've found a faulty piece of equipment that's in what we call a pre-fail state, and that's what we want to identify so we can get it changed before it fails. So this picture actually shows what our linemen are doing out on a normal work day. So it's a different project, but it's a bad insulator that was found. They got out there. Instead of just changing out the insulator, they decided to change out the pole as well. So what they're doing here is they've set a new pole, transferring the wires from the old to the new, and they're doing all that while it's hot. That's an energized power line. So by being proactive and finding that bad insulator and being able to do this like they do it, the members do not experience any power outages. The other beautiful thing about it is if our linemen can go out on a nice day in their normal routine, be protected with all the equipment they have, that's much safer than waiting till it fails. Fails at night, it's going to be in the dark. Fails during a storm, it's a different working conditions. So it's good reliability for members and better safety for our linemen. We have now scanned 1,591 miles of power line, and we'll continue to do our whole overhead system. We found 265 pieces of equipment in this pre-fail condition. We've already got out there and fixed 219 of them, and we'll continue to do this program, driving outages out of our system for you. Really excited about this as well. Trying to take our vegetation management program to the next level by utilizing a technology called AI Dash. Currently, 22% of our outages are caused by trees. Your board of directors in 2024's budget increased our tree budget up to $2.3 million. That's more than we've ever budgeted for trees at Lake Region. It wasn't long ago we were in the 1.2 to 1.5 million range. Now we're up to 2.3. How this AI Dash technology works, satellite imagery of our system is captured from multiple angles. The technology monitors that clearance between the power line and the trees, creating a comprehensive plan for us that's kind of gives you just a snapshot there in the middle. All those colorful lines are our power lines, and this technology will show us where we need to go in 2024, which is the red areas, where we need to go in 2025, the yellow areas, and then in 2026, the green areas. Really excited about this tool to help us drive those outages out of our system from trees. Of course, our ultimate goal at Lake Region is to best serve our members with a best-in-class vegetation management program. Here in District 4, here's some of the areas that we have recently did tree trimming since the year 2020. The green areas are the Dora Circuit 1 and Dora Circuit 2. That was done in 2020. The blue lines are what we've done here did in 2021 in the Dent 3 circuit, as well as the Earhart Circuit 2. And the pinkish line is what we've done in 2023 for the Dent 2 circuit. Here's where we're going next in this area, starting in 2024. We'll be going to the Dora 3 circuit there in the red, as well as the main Circuit 1. In 25 and 27, we'll be in Dent, the purple area, Dent Circuit 3. In 2025, we'll be in Dent, or Earhart, the blue area, and in Dora 1 in 2027. Hope you can see how this management tool really helps us put together a very efficient, long-term vegetation management program. Well, when we talk about reliability today, we've also got to talk about power supply. What is happening in our country is, as we all know, the demand for electricity continues to grow, right? Our economy becomes more and more electrified all the time. Demand for electricity is going up across our country. What's happening on the supply side, it's changing very rapidly. It's decarbonizing and those types of things. So traditional coal-fired power plants, for example, you hear and read about they're being shut down. That's being transformed, being replaced with wind, solar, battery technology, as well as more natural gas-fired power plants. Well, the good news for us, we are members of Great River Energy. They're our generation and transmission cooperative. These are 4 natural gas-fired peaking plants that GRE owns here in Minnesota. And I want to point out, these peaking plants, they don't run very often. They're called peaking plants because they only run when there's peak demands, maybe those hot summer days or cold winter days. They just come on and run for a few hours when they need to run. They're currently powered from natural gas. The Pleasant Valley, Elk River, and Lakefield Junction, they're also what we call dual fuel plants. They're powered by natural gas, but they've got on-site fuel oil for redundancy at those 3 plants, which is wonderful. Cambridge is just natural gas, but GRE recently got a permit from the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission, and Cambridge is also going to be converted in the next couple years to a dual fuel plant. Just an example of what GRE is doing for reliability and redundancy in our power supply system. I want to talk a little bit about our rate strategy. Our strategy certainly is to keep rates as low as possible for our members. We do that by engaging with members to control cost and create new revenue streams to keep our rates as low as possible. As Earl mentioned earlier, this strategy has served us well. We've only had 2 rate changes in the last 12 years. Let's take a look at how our rates, what you and I pay as Lake Region members compared to other electric cooperatives in Minnesota. These 13 co-ops in here from A to L, each one of these lines represents the cost of 1,000 kilowatt hours for the month at each one of these different cooperatives. Co-op A being the lowest, Co-op L being the most. Years ago, Lake Region was up in this area. It was a higher cost cooperative, and now you can see Lake Region is down there in the green bar, second lowest in this peer group of 13 electric cooperatives. Why is that? Well, one of the main reasons has to do with our productive employees achieving these positive results for our members through hard work, through the use of technology and innovation. Our productivity has increased 73% since 2005. How we measure that is back in 2005 there, for every 1 employee at Lake Region, we could serve 260 consumers. Today, that 1 employee at Lake Region serves 450 consumers. Let's compare that to that kind of orangish line that runs across the top. What that represents is the other cooperatives in the state who are part of the Great River Energy family, 28 distribution co-ops. So you can see back there in 2005, our line, the blue line, was actually below the average. And you can see now in 2022, we're significantly above that average. Compliments to our team and the hard work that they do. That translates into lower cost. Here's an example of that. Our A&G costs at Lake Region, the administrative and general costs. If you go back to 2006, our A&G costs were $3.1 million for the year. Today, in 2013, it's $2.7 million, almost $500,000 lower today than in 2006. And if we look at it at a consumer level, it's down from $125 per year per customer down to $90. So just another way we're keeping our costs under control and keeping our rates as low as possible. I love this slide. This is maybe the best example of the positive impact of member engagement and member participation in Lake Region. This is a picture, a snapshot of a day last February, cold day, peak demand day. It's our billing peak day for the month from GRE. What happens on those billing days? First of all, we've got 12,462 members that participate in at least one of our load management programs. Incredibly proud of that. That's over 50% of our members participating in one of these programs. In total, we have over 14,000 controllable loads on our system, from dual fuel, ETS, water heaters, irrigators. All of those programs are on controls. So what happens on a billing day? That blue line up there, that's the total electric load for all of us at Lake Region. That's how much juice we're using at that point of the day. As we go through the day, GRE calls for the control, and it's going to be a potential billing peak for the month. Well, instead of going straight across at that 90,000 level of kilowatts, we don't go straight across on that dotted line. We start controlling, and our load comes all the way down here in the 63,000 range. So what that means to us is, instead of buying 90,000 kilowatt hours and getting billed on 90,000, we get billed on 63,000. That savings, that delta right there, that equaled $436,000 just for the month of February. That allows us to keep our rates low. That allows us to create these off-peak programs for our members, really a strength of Lake Region Electric Cooperative. The other thing we've done, we've created new revenue streams and lower costs for the membership. These four programs alone created approximately $1 million of total positive rate benefits for our members in 2023. The standby generator program that we now have, we've installed and maintained now over 500 standby generators for our members. That brings new revenue into the cooperative. The investment that we made several years ago now in CARS tree service, when we're spending $2.3 million a year for clearing trees, we just think it makes a lot of sense to be an owner of a very high quality tree company like CARS Tree Service. So as an owner of that organization, one of the owners of that organization, when they have financial success, that gets shared with the ownership. That brings new dollars into Lake Region as well. And anytime we can bring new dollars in to the cooperative, it's one less dollar that the board has to put into your rates. The middle big picture there, that's a picture of our Lake Region Energy Services, our new natural gas company. That certainly is a new revenue stream for us as well. And the beautiful thing about that is we can take fixed costs off of the electric cooperative, allocate them into the gas company, and recover those costs through the rates of the natural gas customers, those 1,200 customers we serve, lowering some costs for the Lake Region Electric Cooperative. And then the last one here is a very innovative project. It's a local renewable project where we capture both the wind and the sun to produce local renewable energy, and it's at a very low cost for us. So these four things, last year in 2023, created that $1 million in total positive rate benefits for our members. You ever stop and think about how many times we use electricity throughout the day, and the value of that electricity and how much convenience and comfort that creates for us? Just a few simple examples. For a penny, about a penny at Lake Region, for example, you can fully charge your phone 18 times. Think about all the things that enables you to do for basically a month or so. For a penny, you get up in the morning, brew a cup of coffee. It takes about a penny's worth of electricity. Also a penny to power a very efficient light bulb these days for about 11 hours for a lamp that you can do some reading at home with. Tremendous value of electricity. How did your cooperative do financially for 2023? We don't have December books closed yet, so this is an estimate. But it was a very solid year for us, a total margin, bottom line, if you will, $3.3 million. Again, solid year. A couple big things, headliners for the year, though. We had a significant wholesale power increase to us from Great River Energy in January, about 6%. So we absorbed a lot of additional wholesale power costs. We put our new retail rates that we pay in place in September. So we had that period of time when we absorbed that higher wholesale power cost, which was a bit of a drain on the margins. And then the second thing, of course, is just general inflation that we're all dealing with. That certainly has an impact on us. Just for an example, a transformer today is about twice the cost that it was just 3 years ago. Costs aren't coming down yet by any means for most of our stuff, but it has maybe eased some. But inflation surely has had a big impact on our cooperative as well. With having another solid year, we estimate that when we close the books for December, our equity will be up to $69 million. That's tripled now since the year 2005. Ken Hendricks, I think you mentioned that earlier. But a tremendous growth in the balance sheet and the financial strength of your cooperative. And that, of course, leads in the cooperative business model that your board of directors makes that decision every year to retire more capital credits, giving dollars back to you, the ownership of the organization. Paid out over $1.5 million this past year. Comes back to the members in three pieces: Lake Region's piece, GRE's piece, and then CFC. And I just want to comment on that because CFC is kind of a new thing for us. CFC is a bank that we borrow money from to build poles and wires and infrastructure for you. CFC was formed by the American Electric Cooperatives, we being one of them, and it's still 100% owned by American Electric Cooperatives. They do business like we do. As a cooperative, when they have financial success, it gets shares down to us. And when we receive that, we then pay that back to the members as well. So this $1.5 million retirement last year, now 11 consecutive years of over $1 million of capital credits paid back to the membership. And since 1958, Lake Region has now paid back just shy of $40 million there to the membership. So proud to work for an organization that's so committed to communities and being involved in the community. Just a few snapshots of things we did across our service territory the last year or so. We're involved in the schools. Our linemen there are in a school talking to the kids about safety around electricity. I look at that picture and I see little kids just really dialed in on those linemen, really paying attention. It's awesome our linemen do that. The picture in the middle there at the top, East Otter Tail County Fair, we had a booth there this past summer, an opportunity for our employees to engage with members as they come through there. It's wonderful. I just love this one too, the big American flag. We bought a few big flags here in the last couple of years, and we use our bucket trucks to fly those flags here and there. We do it at the 4th of July. We do it at our annual meeting. And what's cool about that is now organizations like the Western Minnesota Steam Threshers Association, the big roll-log event, they asked us last year if we'd come on and fly that big flag at their event. Certainly we'd be proud to do that. They had kind of a military veterans theme last year, and just being involved in the community, particularly with those types of things. And then we did a Minnesota Twins baseball clinic last year, teamed up with the Twins, and they sent up some really high-quality coaches, and just fun to watch them coach up those kids, both from a baseball perspective and just a general perspective, as well as the parents. So just a really, really fun day that was, and proud to be part of it. Lake Region, yeah, certainly about people helping people. The Operation Roundup program is just absolutely wonderful because of the generosity of our membership. Members willing to round up their monthly power bill to the next dollar. That small change each month goes into our Operation Roundup Fund. This group of people right here, volunteer Lake Region members, they serve on the Operation Roundup Board of Directors. They decide where those dollars are paid out to. Just one example here in this kind of general area, a contribution was made last year to a Cornerstone Youth Center in Frazee. Again, just supporting the youth. What a wonderful program this Operation Roundup is. Since it was founded and started in 2007, paid out over $600,000 to organizations in our local service territory. In conclusion, I just want to say that I hope you as members, owners of this cooperative feel that we are all committed to serving you. In the cooperative business model, you are the owners of the organization. We are the servants. We are here to serve you. We do it to the best of our ability. If there's ever a moment where you don't feel that commitment from us to serve you, please let us know. We, again, are here to serve you, and it's our pleasure to do that. So with that, thank you all for being here tonight. It feels awesome to have this many people in the room and this many people interested in running for the board of directors. The strength of the co-op is at the grassroots. Thank you. I get to take questions, so please, if any questions, that would be great. Great question. We currently have 67 employees. That's right. That's the reaction we get. And again, it's back to the productivity. The hardworking people that we have is incredible. We have enough power line to stretch from here to the Gulf of Mexico and back twice. Think about that. Yes.
Probably several months ago, you laid underground wire on the east side of Little McDonald Lake.
Yeah.
Any idea when that project is going to be finished?
Yeah, Brian, you're very familiar with that project?
Yeah. That was an opportunity where we went joint with ACS. Arvigs went in there with some fiber optic, and we had an opportunity to bury our lines with them. At the same time, that's when the transformer material shortage hit. I know that project's been sitting about. It's probably even getting on the second summer. You know, so our plan right now, we actually had an unbelievable construction year with this no snow, and we kind of stole November and December, so we got a lot more things done than we normally would have in this climate, or this late in the summer. Those projects, there's like 3 beach projects that are left from last year or last fall that didn't get completed. They'll be this next spring. We've got guys on them right away in the spring. Now that the ground's frozen, there isn't really much we can do with those yards, and we don't want to we don't want to dig and make a big mess and things like that. So, but those projects that are on beaches, and I know that's one of them, and another one you might see is, see our guys working along the new bike path up on north of the Dent sub. There's a lot of underground that's installed there that would tie into the McDonald's stuff. We're gonna continue to work there, but now that the ground's frozen, those projects have kind of been on hold, but I guess springtime is what I'm thinking there, so.
Yeah, boy, managing through the shortage, the supply chain issues in the last few years for material and transformers, really a big challenge for us, for sure. Not just us, the whole industry. Thank you for bringing that up. Anybody else? All right. Wow. Just feels good to be in an old gymnasium like this with members. I can't thank you enough for coming. Earl?
I get to step up here for just a second. All I'm going to do right now is call Chad Festo back up as the chairman of the nomination in Ballot County.
Thank you, Earl. Sorry. Members of District 4, here are the results from the ballots. Tammy Ziegler had 2 votes. Ken Hendricks had 6 votes. David Pawlowski had 6 votes. Lee Mindeman had 26 votes. So we have a tie for the second position. I will tell you this is the second time I've run into a tie at Lake Region Electric. I represent, I think, 9 different electric co-ops around the state, and you are apparently the lucky one that run into a tie. And so what our bylaws say, section 4.4A, states that in the event of a tie between the second candidate, which we have here, Lee Mindeman will be on the ballot for sure, a coin flip is used. The bylaws also state that the individual whose last name appears first in the alphabet gets to call the coin flip. So if Ken and David want to come up, I've got a coin and we can flip. And just a reminder, we have the petition process as well for those that are out there. All right, I'll show you. Just a quarter. There's the heads, and I think that's a phoenix on the back. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Ken?
Do we call it in the air?
It's up to you.
Okay, let's do that.
All right.
Heads.
It is tails.
Congratulations, David.
So, absent any petitions, Lee Mindeman and David Pawlowski will be on the ballot at the April meeting. So thank you all. And I am going to turn it back to Earl for some final comments. Thank you.
Well, once again, I want to thank you all for coming. I do appreciate the support over the years. And thanks to Tim and his crew for the good job they've done. I didn't mention them by name, but there's quite a few of them in the room. But, yeah, I know Dylan and Chad and Candace, and I know Al someplace, and Brian. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's great. Of course, Greg. Sorry. I didn't want to forget you. Okay. Anyway, once again, I want to thank the candidates for their willingness to serve as members of the district by running for a seat on the board. Your engagement's greatly appreciated. And got one thing to say about that. Stand by for a heavy roll to port. I worked for the Navy when I first got out at Nemesis, and I was riding those ships. I don't know why those guys always did it. They always decided to have engineering drills when you sat down to eat chow. So you sat down to eat, first thing they do is yell that, and you got to grab your tray and your coffee cup or they're going to end up on a bulkhead over there. It's, but the heavy roll to port, it's the active left agenda in this country that's going to affect us all. And it continues to rear its head. And it doesn't always make sense, I know that, but we got to deal with it one way or the other, whether it comes or whether it doesn't. And your board has got to face the forefront of that action. And I do appreciate it. You guys looking forward to that seat on the board, you're going to have your hands full. Anyway, I just wanted to thank you. Before we adjourn today's meeting, I want to remind you that the annual meeting is on April 18th at 6:30 p.m. in Life Church in Fergus Falls. And we'll also be having in-person meetings in Frazee and Parker's Prairie. We'll also be live streaming this event, so you can participate that way. And please, ask your questions. That's what we're here for. That's what Tim and his crew are here for. And we do appreciate sharing with you. And thank all of you for coming again. And adios, I guess.